This will mark the 500th day of the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine that began when Vladimir Putin's forces invaded last February.
Well, now the largest nuclear power plant in Europe is a focal point of that conflict, with reports that it could be attacked at any moment.
Joining us now to discuss this is Natalie Melnyczuk, a Euro-Atlantic security consultant at Wayne State University and the former director of NATO's mission in Ukraine. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Is, in your opinion, the largest nuclear power plant in Europe, is this in imminent danger here?
It seems to be. The last few days, rhetoric from Russia has really ratcheted up in and around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. It is the largest nuclear power plant in all of Europe. It has 6 reactors, and Russia has occupied and run by force that nuclear facility since early on in the all-out invasion. So since March of 2022, they've operated the plant at gunpoint. They have dismissed 7,000 of the 10,000 employees required to operate that plant. They have put 6 nuclear reactors into a cold shutdown mode, the last one having been placed into cold shutdown just a few months ago. Now, the nuclear reactor still continues to require cooling, and traditionally that's done with water. The step that was taken exactly 1 month ago today, June 6th, of Russian troops blowing up the hydroelectric power dam in Novakhovka was step 1 in undermining the stability of this nuclear power plant. That dam and its reservoir supplied the cooling waters to keep that nuclear power plant in Zaporizhzhia stable. The reservoir was depleted quickly on June 6th with the explosion of the dam, and already 1 month ago we were looking at a very potentially unstable situation in Zaporizhzhia at the power plant. Now they're using waters from a drainage system to cool the spent fuel reserves and the towers themselves. Remember, they remain hot and active for 100,000 years. They require constant cooling with water. It is guessed that in about 2 months, those waters will be depleted.
Yeah.
So,
and then what?
now the worst thing,
Yeah.
what we heard 2 days ago is Ukrainian intelligence services and the Ukrainian army identified munitions placed on 2 of the 6 reactors. Tower number 3, tower number 4 seem to have explosive devices attached to them by the occupying Russian forces. This has not been confirmed by the IAEA, the UN's nuclear watchdog, but is assumed that it's probably accurate because we've seen Russia use these tactics previously, again most recently at the Novakhovka Dam.
Yeah, and there has been reports that both Ukraine and Russia are threatening to blow this up. And what is the end game here? I mean, obviously that would be catastrophic.
Ukraine would have absolutely no reason in blowing itself up.
Yeah.
Its people have been fighting to stay alive and stay independent for 500 days now as of Saturday. And actually prior to that, since Russia invaded in 2014. So Ukraine has stayed steadfast in remaining a free democratic country. It does not want to blow itself up nor ruin its groundwaters and its arable land for thousands of years to come. Whereas for Russia, you might see them becoming a bit more desperate, as in the last 500 days, they've lost half of the entire Russian army as casualties.
Oh,
and
goodness.
over 92% of the Russian army has been deployed to Ukraine. So they may decide to put some time into alternative tactics, blowing up dams, perhaps challenging the integrity of the nuclear power station. And we've heard about some other vital infrastructure that might be at stake as well. Getting more bang for their buck, unfortunately.
But with so much of their military over there, we have to acknowledge the fact that they would wipe out even more of their military by letting something happen, right?
We have not seen Russia think twice about sacrificing its own people. Its personnel, its fighters, mercenaries in the Wagner group, which they hired and sent out. And usually they don't even pick up their soldiers' bodies from the fields in Ukraine. Usually it's Ukraine that is left to remove the soldiers from the field. So human life does not seem to be weighed exactly in the same way as Ukraine weighs it for its own people.
We are out of time, unfortunately, but let me just ask you this, yes or no, do you think this conflict ends anytime soon?
It possibly might. NATO has
yes
a very,
no.
It may, yes, indeed, it might. It really depends upon weapons coming to Ukraine. Some of NATO's decisions going to be made in Vilnius on July 11th. And stay tuned. Ukraine has the ability, given the right weapons, to win the war and win it fairly quickly. But timing is not the real question.
All right. Well, Natalie Melnyczuk, we appreciate your time joining us tonight on CBS News Detroit at 5.